Good evening. You're watching Straight Talk with Eugene Chan, and our guest this evening is Dr. the Honourable Geoffrey Ma, our former Chief Justice. His long and distinguished career began after he graduated from Birmingham and was called to the bar in London, Hong Kong, Australia and Singapore. He was appointed Queen's Counsel in 1993 and then Senior Counsel in 1997. He held various positions in the High Court of Hong Kong and received many awards and honorary appointments. Since retiring in 2021, he has returned to practice and has also been appointed honorary professor in both University of Hong Kong as well as the Chinese University. Welcome, Geoffrey.
Thank you.
You had an illustrious career in the legal profession, but tonight we are not asking for your legal comments. Rather, you have continued your commitment to serving our community by being the honorary president of Cricket Hong Kong. And this evening, we will be talking about how and why cricket could be promoted in Hong Kong. So before we start this topic of interest, maybe you can tell the viewers how you're linked to cricket, and did you actually play cricket?
I played cricket when I first went to England to study in the 60s. So I've played cricket quite extensively, a little less when I was at university, and only socially when I returned to Hong Kong to begin work. It's a time-consuming sport.
Is it? Right. So when people talk about cricket, I mean, for those who might have seen people playing cricket around in Hong Kong or even elsewhere, or even on the television, you see people dressed in all white, and they're usually playing on the cricket ground. They'll run along just around a brown strip. You see people running around. And for those who don't know much about the game, they don't actually know what's happening. Maybe you can give the viewers a brief outline on what they're actually doing on the cricket ground.
You've mentioned it's played on a cricket ground or cricket pitch. Within that ground is a narrow strip which is called the wicket. This narrow strip is 22 yards. I still deal with yards.
Right.
At the end of which are 3 sticks in the ground, and those are called a wicket, with on top bails. Each side has 11 players. Each player gets to bat, and the object of the game is to accumulate as many runs as possible. Each side bats either once or twice, depending on the format of the game. One side bowls, so you have 11 players on one side in the field, bowling to 2 batters who try to get as many runs as possible. And at the end of the day, the side that has the most runs wins. That's just at its simplest form, but it is a game of tactics. Tactics as to when and who to bat first, tactics as to what sort of bowling is employed, fast or spin or slow bowling, and there's a lot of tactics in terms of placing the players on the field.
Right, so, Geoffrey, when you're talking about along the brown strip called the wicket, on each side you've got 2-3 stick stumps on one end. So when people run from one end to the other, that's called 1 run. That's
called 1 run, unless you hit it so well that you hit it beyond the ground, beyond the pitch, in which case you score 4 runs if it's along the ground. If you hit a mighty big one, which doesn't even touch the ground but goes over the boundaries of the cricket pitch, that's 6 runs.
Right, so the numbers of runs are sort of accumulated and see who had the most runs, and that side wins. And also I've seen on television, I'm sure some of you have seen as well, you see the fieldsmen, they jump and catch the ball before it hits the ground. And that means the batsmen, they used to call them batsmen, but you say they're called batters now, and they're out and the next one comes in. Is that how it runs still?
That's right. I mean, the batsman lasts as long as until he is out. He is out by 2 means, really. One is that the ball is bowled, and without hitting it, it hits the wicket, the 3 sticks, the stumps, or he hits it, and before it hits the ground, somebody catches it. He's then caught out. There are some similarities with baseball, but very few.
Right. We know that cricket is a sort of a 180-year sport, but it doesn't have a big global follow-up like compared to, say, football, the World Cup going on at the moment. I mean, we have got the World Cup at Qatar right now with 32 teams playing, and hopefully in the next World Cup there'll be like 48 teams. And I've done some read-up before I see you today that the cricket World Cup in 2019, they have just over 10 teams, so definitely not more than 20 teams. So why is it not as popular as football, since they're both from England?
They are popular. It is not as popular a sport as football. You can see that from the World Cup, as you've just said. But it is actually a very popular sport in certain countries. They are fanatic about it in places like India, in Australia, and in England. And also, it is a growing and quite a developed sport in Hong Kong as well. Many people play it. But in terms of World Cups, it is not to be compared with football, but it is a national sport, you could say, of India, of Pakistan, and possibly, I think, of Australia.
Right. Geoffrey, I had the exposure to cricket when I was in Australia studying, and there's always a belief that, or a common myth of cricket, that only sort of more senior sportsmen play cricket, is boring, is long, is not for the Chinese, is mainly for the Westerners. Do you agree?
Not at all. There are many forms of cricket. The purists, or the classic form, is what's known as a test match, and that lasts 5 days. And that's what people mean when they say boring.
5 days.
It lasts 5 days, and at the end of which you might not even get a result. That was cut down to what are called ODIs, one-day internationals, whereby each side has 50 overs. By the way, each overs means 6 balls bowled at one side and then the other side. 50 overs. And now the most popular form of cricket is known as T20, which is 20-20, only 20 overs, 120 balls bowled.
Right, so how long will that match last?
That would last probably about 4 hours, 5 hours, and it is a social event. And that is the popular form, that and the 50 overs, in Hong Kong.
Right,
and not just among expatriates, but actually among Chinese.
Yeah, before we move on to say how cricket's developed in Hong Kong, I often hear of the word the Ashes. The Ashes is a big term in cricket. So what exactly is that meant to the viewers?
The Ashes represents the match between England and Australia. And the Ashes represent the day, this is well over 100 years ago, when England lost to Australia. In those days, England was dominant in every sort of sport, since they prided themselves in introducing sports like cricket to the world. They lost to Australia. That was seen as to be a disastrous day for the English. So the day English cricket died, so that was then the wicket, the 3 stumps were then, I think, incinerated into a pile of ashes. And that's what they play for. It's put in an urn, and that's what England and Australia play for when they play each other.
Oh, is that right? So there's some history to it. So before we go to the break, I want to ask you about the development of cricket in Hong Kong. You mentioned that it's getting more popular in Hong Kong. So when did cricket really start in Hong Kong? Is it when during the days when the British are still running Hong Kong? Is that it?
Historically, Hong Kong cricket was introduced to Hong Kong when the British came. That is really just a historical fact now. Modern day cricket in Hong Kong is actually quite different because it stretches across the communities. And this is the important part of cricket, an important part of what we do at Cricket Hong Kong, which is the governing body of cricket within Hong Kong, part of the International Council on Cricket, the ICC. It bridges the communities, particularly ethnic communities. It develops unity among communities and among the communities in Hong Kong. and particularly develops women's sports. A lot of girls, a lot of women play cricket. It's an important feature of the community in Hong Kong, I would say.
Is it amongst the ethnic community or even amongst Chinese communities?
Among Chinese, because there are teams which play for each particular region in Hong Kong, each particular district. For example, there's a team of Chinese ladies. There is a team even of deaf people. Quite a number of Chinese children play cricket. You'll be surprised. Actually, one statistic which I can share with you is that I often ask people, how many schools do you think in Hong Kong play cricket? And the answer comes back usually 8, 9, 10, maybe 12. The answer actually is about 62 or 63.
Wow.
Of which 46 are primary schools and the rest are secondary schools. So a lot of Chinese.
Right. All right, Geoffrey, we have to take a break now, and stay with us, viewers. We will be right back. Thank you for staying with us. Former Chief Justice Geoffrey Ma is on our show this evening, and he has been talking to us about something he feels very passionate about, cricket. And now he's going to tell us how promoting the game is good for Hong Kong. So Geoffrey, in the first half, you have outlined how cricket is played, some of the background, and we touched on the development of cricket in Hong Kong. And you mentioned many Chinese girls like to play cricket. So do we have any Hong Kong teams at the moment and playing in any international events?
I think viewers may be interested to know just the degree of excellence, if I use that term, of our cricket teams, starting with the men, in fact also the women, and their world rankings in the most popular form of cricket, which I've described as T20. The ranking of the men is 21 in the world. 21 in the world out of 107. As far as the women are concerned, also ranked 21 out of 107. So there's a degree of excellence there. And within the Hong Kong women's team, there are the highest ranked player is ranked number 61 in the world. And this is out of thousands. So there is a degree of excellence. And also, as far as the men's team is concerned, the men's cricket team has achieved what no other team sport in Hong Kong has achieved, which is they have participated in 2 World Cups of cricket and 2 Asian Cups as well. I don't think any other team in Hong Kong can boast that.
Wow.
The women nearly got to the finals of the World Cup recently, and they can only improve.
Right. When you mentioned we have over 65 schools having cricket in the school, how about the adult community? Do we have a big adult community playing cricket in Hong Kong? Yes,
I mentioned the districts in Hong Kong. The various districts have pockets of people who are very, very keen. And across all walks of life. I've mentioned ethnic minorities, I've mentioned the Chinese community and other communities. The one interesting fact actually is that among the Filipinos, among the Filipino domestic helpers in Hong Kong, they form a very strong team in Hong Kong. Now, I think, as I understand, about 7 or 8 of them play internationally, and then 2 of them have been signed up professionally.
Wow, so Hong Kong does do quite well.
And this is through development in Hong Kong.
Right. In Hong Kong, we've often been, people will know that in Hong Kong, sporting grounds are always very scarce. I mean, there's always scarcity of sporting grounds for sports we played on. How about for cricket? I mean, you need a big cricket ground. Do we have enough ground for that?
The government has been very good and supportive of cricket. The government has always been keen on developing community interests and especially among ethnic minorities and other groups, all groups, not just ethnic minorities. There are a number of cricket grounds in Hong Kong. People think about the clubs like Kowloon Cricket Club, Hong Kong Cricket Club, but there are public grounds available run by the LCSD. One is in Tin Kwong Road, one is in Gin Drinkers Bay, in Chinese is Zhui Zhao Wan, and then the newest one is in Cheung Kwan O.
Right, I see. You know, for a sport to do well, you must have sort of media interest or even commercial sponsors. Do we get that in cricket, just like many sports, like the rugby sevens in Hong Kong, like the golfing sports, or even tennis, or even football?
There is, this is growing because in terms of individual or commercial sponsors, what they want to see is, of course, excellence in the sport, but excellence reflected internationally. And that means the bringing of important events into Hong Kong. And the important event in Hong Kong, the one that's coming up, is next year, in next April, something called the Fair Break International, which is a women's cricket international, set to be the most important international women's cricket event after the World Cup, and that will take place in Hong Kong next April, and that will attract sponsors. I hope.
Right.
It attracted some already, but more, I hope.
Right, Geoffrey, we have talked about the development of sport in Hong Kong. I mean, so I'm very pleased to know that there are more people than I think are playing cricket, and there are a lot more interest in it. And how about in terms of support? I mean, you talk about the grounds. I mean, you need coaches, you need officials, you need equipment. Are they readily available in Hong Kong? And is it very expensive to get into the game?
Well, Cricket Hong Kong requires funding. The funding is needed to hire coaches, to hire good coaches, to hire coaches who are able to speak the language, not just English, but particularly now Chinese, Cantonese. All these take resources. Private funding and sponsors is one thing, but the main provider of funds and support is the government. The government provides for Cricket Hong Kong, which runs cricket in Hong Kong, about 36% of its annual budget. The ICC provides a substantial whole, rest is made up by sponsors.
Right. Let's move on to a point you mentioned earlier. It's played by the minorities. However, more and more Chinese are playing cricket. Maybe they were exposed to the game when they're overseas in New Zealand, Australia, or in England, whatnot. I mean, there's a reason why they're playing. How would you see, I mean, or in other words, why would the government put in funding to promote this sport, apart from being a sport? Do you see any value of this sport is bringing to Hong Kong compared to other sports?
It's wrong to say that in terms of the Chinese who play, you're just talking about those who've studied abroad. Actually, there are many, actually the majority of the Chinese playing are locals. That's why the need at school level, primary and secondary school level, to have coaches who are, of course, who speak Cantonese. The government is keen on this aspect because there is a real community aspect in all this, not just for the ethnic minorities, but indeed for everybody. And diversity, of course, is important in all this, as far as the government and indeed others are concerned. The Chinese mainland is interested in cricket. Mm-hmm. The mainland is interested in cricket because they have one target. One of the targets is that in next year's 2023 Asian Games, cricket will be one of the sports. And serious consideration is being given to having cricket in the All China, the national games in 2025, and also the Olympic Games in 2028.
Right. So it's going to, even the mainland are having a big interest in the game cricket as well.
That's right. And of course, you're not talking about expatriates who happen to be in the mainland. You are talking about mainland Chinese being interested in cricket. And there are various centers of cricket there: Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou.
Right, Geoffrey, when you mentioned that, it made me think of what Chief Executive John Lee was in a show a few weeks ago after his inaugural policy address. He was mentioning that we need to speak a good Hong Kong story because Hong Kong should be Asia's world city. So certainly having this game of cricket is going to galvanize people of different backgrounds together, having sport, and that should lessen a lot of tension in the geopolitical world right now. Would you agree?
I agree with that, and I firmly believe in it, and that is why, for me personally, I'm prepared to devote as much time as needed to develop cricket in Hong Kong.
Right. So, if someone wants to play cricket or they want to develop further in their professional sports career in cricket, what are their opportunities and challenges? You mentioned about the Fair Break tournament, but there must be some challenges that they have to face.
There are many cricket teams in Hong Kong and quite a number of many different leagues in Hong Kong. The development of cricket is important because while a lot of children play at primary school level, when they get to secondary school, they find that the number of options to play cricket are limited. Some options are available, but by the time they finish secondary school and go to university level, then even fewer. What Cricket Hong Kong seeks to do is to have programs and developments so that people who are really keen can continue with their cricket if they want to. Others, of course, find other interests as they go to university or go to secondary school, but there are a sizable number who are genuinely keen on cricket.
Right, Geoffrey, one last question. I want a quick answer. How, from your point of view, how can a profile cricket be increased even more in the coming years?
I think people being aware that it is a growing and a real sport in Hong Kong, and also the government supporting us, as they have done. I just hope they will continue to do so.
Right, Geoffrey, we have to leave it here. And thank you for sharing your passion for cricket with us. I'm sure it has given many of our viewers a better appreciation of the game, and you may have kick-started some new fans in time for Fair Break 2023 at Kowloon Cricket Club. Have a pleasant evening and good night.